Hi everyone, I'm Betsy Witt, healing artist with Lonza. Thank you so much for taking time out of your days to learn this really cool, no need for a ring light highlight look. This is Lauren, and today I'm going to show you a quick tip on how to get that piece in front of your head that's going to bring that light forward and really show off some brightness. Super easy, super quick for you to use every day at the salon. All you're gonna need to start out is our Lonza Healing Powder Decolorizer with 20 volume, and that is mixed 1 part powder, 2 parts developer. You can see here I have her section from the top center of the head down to the top of the ear on both sides. Okay, let's get started. One cool thing to know about our powder decolorizer is that it has a really nice creamy consistency so that you're able to get that perfect finish every time. Also, our trauma treatment is perfectly calibrated so that you just add 1 pump into your decolorizer for optimal protection while lifting. Okay. So as you can see here, I've got a thin slice of Lauren's hair. It's thin enough that you can see my comb through it. What you're gonna do is go in directly at that scalp, and we're gonna do a thin microweave with a tiny little slice. We're gonna pick up that hair. For this particular technique, you're going to want to use either a foil or a film, and I will be using my longer bristled brush. When you go in to start, you want to make sure you're brushing upward into that scalp area, touching down. Now for this particular color, remember that we want those bold pieces right in front. When we go back and tone, that's going to be crucial. One thing for Lauren's hair is the fact that she had just a few days ago did a glam poo. It was beautiful, and then it was time for her to move on to something new. So she was ready to get her base cleaned up. I always recommend laying your foils flat for the fact that it will process much more evenly and give you a better consistency. I'm working horizontally on the head, and you can really see how thin these sections are. You're just working all the way up. The next section, we're gonna do that little microweave, bounce, bounce, bounce through there. Take that hair and you'll foil right through there. You're able to work on a diagonal as well, but this is a really great time to see how beneficial it can be for you to use your lines to get the cover. So if I was going diagonally, I would get a more blended cover, but in this particular application, we really want to make sure we're getting all the way up to the scalp, nice and clean. And if you've got some darker spots, you can always put that lightener on a little bit heavier to make sure that it gets saturated. The longer bristled brushes give you a nice sweeping motion. And then just set that foil on top, and you're gonna work to your next section. We're gonna go this direction all the way to the center, turn her, and rotate to the other side. This is gonna create that really bold pop of color around the face, because this is the part that your clients see the most and they wanna see the most benefit. So again, this section of hair, we're gonna do that little bounce, and then we're gonna do a thin little slice. You can see right in here, she has all this little baby hair. We will tackle that last. That little hair is going to lift very quickly, and so I usually recommend doing that very last for that reason. So again, we're gonna brush up into that base area, lift, and you can see that leftover of her pink glam poo she did. I recommend kind of doing something I call hashing, where you're sweeping your brush through and then you're gonna set that foil right on top. Our powder decolorizer is recommended to be left up to 55 minutes processing. However, I usually say to check and see where you're at after about 30 minutes. Always check the section that you started on. So again, you guys can see how thin this is. I can see my comb through it. If you can read a text through it, etc. This one will go in and do a little bounce and a thinner slice. What's gonna give you the coverage are those slice panels. The slicing is gonna create curtains or sheets of color, which is really important. Pick up your brush and again, go in there and do it that way. Another application technique you could try is using a Lonza color board if you wanted to do it in more of a balayage fashion. It's really great to give you a nice surface to paint on. I also really like to change up my weaving combs on super fine hair. I have this little tiny baby comb that I really like, and you could even go in there and do a herringbone weave, which a herringbone weave is going to go in there, take your section out in a weave, and then you're going to weave through it again, creating a baby light. Because as we work up into that part line, we want to make sure that hair stays nice and blended. And you guys can see her old previous highlights. She's got some pink, but especially working with darker pigments, you really want to make sure you're getting that weave nice and fine. Our powder decolorizer with 20 volume is my ultimate favorite formula for any lightening services. It truly does magic without causing any damage to the hair. And then you've got that extra boost from our trauma treatment, providing the healing and nutrients while you process. Perfect for all of our blondorexics out there. Okay, so as I'm working into this top area, we're gonna start seeing that I'm working now on more of an angle. Why is that? Because where she parts her hair, we want to make sure it's falling properly. So this is one of those things where you have the ability to customize it to the guest. So I'm picking up the hair here. We're going to do the bounce, and then we're going to do that little tiny slice in the end. Pick it up. This is a great technique for an in-between too, for those clients that really need some brightening but maybe aren't ready for the full shebang yet. It's also great for those people that think they need 500 million foils and you don't have time to do that. It's gonna save you a lot of time. You'll notice I'm not going all the way through her ends only because they're already pretty blonde. We just are trying to brighten her up around the face. So this one will go in, and this is just my way of doing around the hairline. Some people fold their foils at the top, some people don't. Do what's comfortable for you, but I like to do that weave really close to my part line, separate it off, and then place my foil underneath. I'm using the Quality Touch foil. It's my fave, and it is really nice being on a roll for the fact that I can tear it to whatever length I want. So sometimes I just do like a retouch on my blondes, and I can just go in and, you know, get these tiny little guys. It's smarter to not be folding the foil because I'm going to get it in more even saturation then. And you could also use balayage film or paper or any of those things that you may like. Place your foil and you're just gonna keep on rocking and rolling until you get up to that center. So this will be probably the last one on this side. We're gonna bounce through there and separate it off. I really like the way that we're seeing the contour and color come back, meaning that you're seeing a lot of putting the highlights around the face for fall. We're seeing a lot of caramels, things like that. For her, she really wants to cool it down now. That's usually, as a colorist, one of the hardest things to do after they've chosen something like pink. But we are in a good place, seeing as she has been using our color clarifying shampoo and our blonde rescue. So we'll go in there, and then I just usually just bend those edges out of the face, and then we'll go ahead and do the other side. Cool? Okay. We went ahead and we shampooed and conditioned Lauren's hair, and now we're gonna go in and work on that toning and creating that shadow root. We're gonna go back to the bottle. This is how I learn. It's faster, easier, and totally awesome with liquids. So this is a 9P with an 8A, and all you're gonna do is go in right on that part line and create a bead of color. Using your nozzle, you're gonna push it down into the hair, maybe a little bit more. Then you're gonna use that nozzle, pick up your section. You're gonna go in, create a bead of color, and you're working on both sides of the head. Okay guys, I have Lauren here. We're gonna talk haircut. Haircut is important. I prefer to do that after you wash them, before you get started with their color. It's a nice benefit to go ahead and set the design for what you're gonna create with their color. Think of it as like the dance. You're creating the movement with the color and the cut. It all flows together. So what I'm gonna do here is use my little equalizing porosity spray, spray that through, use my comb. The way the head flows, it has a curve in it. Lauren's been growing her hair out. So the way that I choose to do this is that bottom section where the hair is, we want to keep that area below the occipital bone out of our layering area. Everything else will be divided into 4 equal sections. Centered into 4 quadrants. I'm a pretty firm believer in letting the hair lay where it already lays. Okay, you can see where we're at with her hair. Okay, next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna use your comb, and I've chosen to use a 6-inch shear. We'll spray that down. And then what we're gonna do is we wanna get a nice even comb on that. She's obviously got some natural wave in that. All you wanna do is comb that hair straight down. I'm gonna step around so you guys can see. And have her head held straight. When you hold your hand under the hair, you're creating an angle. You're gonna go right in here, and you're just going to snip off a little bit off that length, point cutting into the ends. Holding that comb nice and even. Go back in, add a few little details on any of those loose little neighbors. That's what I call the odd man's out. Okay, that's gonna be her perimeter hair, and that's gonna be what we call our drop zone, okay? I'm gonna turn her sideways so you're able to see what we're doing. Next, we're gonna just do a very subtle layer on her. Her hair is very fine, and she doesn't like a lot of layering, but she does like to do different things with her hair, so we wanna make sure we give her something to work with. Beginning at the top of the head, you're going to take a 1/4 inch parting all the way down to here, okay? Separate that out. In your section, what you're gonna do is pick up that perimeter with it, to lift directly out of the head. Make sure you get that hair nice and tense from the hair. Good tension from the head. When you get it there, you will snip those little ends. Pick up your next piece of hair. Good tension. Snip those ends. Keep going. Good tension. Snip. You're going to keep following this pattern all the way through while letting the section drop as you go. This is creating a nice even layer for her while not disrupting that bulk through the ends. Let's go on to our next section. We're going to take another 1/4 inch. This is going to be a traveling guide. So we took a 1/4 inch here. We'll take a 1/4 inch from that other side. We're gonna add a hem over there. Section 2, let's turn her a little bit more so you guys are able to see. Section 2, we took a 1/4 inch from our previous section, a 1/4 inch new section, traveling guide. We're going to start at the bottom, have firm tension on that hair, right here. The hair starts to dry out, you can always go in, spritz a little more of your porosity equalizer on, and you are good to go. Keep going. And then we'll go on to our next section. Okay? Now remember, prior to this, we used our chelating shampoo to remove any of the impurities in Lauren's hair to prep her for her blonding service today. It's a great way to save time, use less product, and go ahead and start creating the design for your guest. Awesome service and ultimate results. I'm gonna keep going now. Feel free to follow along and reach out if you have any questions. Okay guys, I'm gonna be showing you how to get that Insta-ready look for a night out or just so you can be feeling baddie and bougie. That loose wave that you see all over your social feed. So what you're gonna need is a 1-inch curling iron and our fave brush through spray. I went ahead and blow dried Lauren out using a demi brush and our Blonde Rescue and our Bounce Up spray just to give her a little bit of extra boost. I've got a section of hair from the temple to the top of the ear. You're just gonna take these tall rectangular sections, they're about 1 inch wide, and all you're gonna be doing is wrapping these vertically around your iron. Similar to how you would use a wand, they are off base. Take it off, let it rest on the finger for a moment, or clip it if you want to make it a set. Let it fall. The bigger you make these, the looser the curl. Right here. So we've got 2. We're gonna do this top portion now. After these have cooled down and they are cool to the touch, you're gonna go through from the very tip of the hair. You're just gonna gently pull on the curl. This is what Mr. Ammon Carver has taught us all as the zhuzh. It's opening up the curl ever so slightly, but keeping it flowy, romantic, and smooth. I'll always thank him for that tip. Keep going. While we finish her up, let's do a quick recap of what we did today. We learned our herringbone foiling technique on Lauren. We also went in and we did a semi-translucent glazing system using our Champion to give her a nice icy finish. And she no longer suffers from fear of blonding. We've learned a lot about our Blonde Rescue line and how we truly can keep blonde hair healthy from the inside out using our Alonza healing system. The herringbone is a great way to keep that nice natural finish at the scalp while providing a great look for your blondes. You'll finish this all the way around. So we learned those 2 things. We also learned our simple, easy way to cut layers on finer textured hair. We learned about how to apply color to damp hair and how to cut hair where it lives originally. We learned about kind of the who, how, what, when, whys of how we do things here at Lonza. And now you're learning some quick styling tips for a night out or in, considering things these days. I really want to say thank you so much for joining me. I sure hope that you guys were able to learn something new and fresh, and invite you to please reach out if you have any questions. I would love to come help or teach anytime you need me. My name is Betsy Witt. You can follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. My handle is at BeautyB.Wilder, which I'll attach here on this end clip. My salon's name is Wilder Society Salon and Artistry, and I will attach all my contact info here on the end slide. And my biggest challenge to you guys is experiment with some blonding. Definitely try some things you haven't tried yet. See what all you can do with the power of placement and with some different techniques to really create a natural finish. There's true power in the healing of Lonza, and I challenge you to try different patterns and different techniques using our different decolorizing powders. Thanks for joining me.